16 Byron Street, St Urban, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Dear Vera, your letter has finally caught up with me, and I have paid the excess postage required to forward it on here. Fortunately, since it only contained one sheet of paper and all your love, it didn't weigh very much. I thought long and hard about whether to reply to your letter at all, but then I remembered it was your birthday coming up, so I decided to risk it and get a card. After all, if you've been threatening all your friends with grievous bodily harm, it may be the only one you get. I note you still don't enclose your full address, so I shall just send it to the trailer park and hope that somebody there knows you.
Ugh, Damon's blooming dog.
I'm having a wonderful time here with my daughter Leslie and spending some quality time, of course, with Cheryl Marie, my granddaughter. It must be heartbreaking for you, missing out on your own granddaughter's childhood like that because you're constantly at loggerheads with Karen. Awful. Oh, I had a lovely long letter from her, incidentally. Full of fun, as usual. She says she's thinking of coming out to visit me here.
Rather you than me. Oh! Not so hard and not so close. What time's your grandmother coming back?
I do hope you won't be lonely, spending your birthday all on your own. Yes, Karen tells me that she definitely wouldn't be spending it with you this year. Well, she phrased it rather differently, actually, but that was the gist of it. And she didn't think that Howard and Anthony would too. Shame. Poor Leslie's worked off her feet at that estate agent's and has to spend an incredible amount of time dining with clients in the evening. He often gets home after midnight, totally exhausted. Poor lamb. I really don't know how she would have managed without me. No. Anyway, happy birthday. Regards, Irene. Vera@farshaws.net.
Dear Irene. Oh.
How wonderful to hear from you at last. I thought you were dead. Probably savaged by kangaroos. I saw a programme on Discovery about them. Apparently they can turn quite nasty. One kick can take your eye out. Oh! Oh. What did I tell you about not so hard? Come on, swap places. Trust Karen not to tell me that she's been corresponding with you all this time. She was always very secretive as a child. Oh, thank you so much for your birthday greetings. It was sweet of you to remember. Personally, I'd rather not at my age. But this year, I didn't have a choice. Yasmin and Carol, did I mention her? She's the one who's involved in the mail order videos. Decided to give me a party. Yasmin does tarot readings, so of course she knew the date. She'd even invited Howard and Karen, and the whole park was decorated with bunting. I later found out Yasmin's grandchildren had borrowed it from the promenade. Can you come in? It's tea time. There was a fabulous barbecue. It was a chilly night, but it warmed up when we roasted 20 pounds of sausages and half a cow. Carol's got an arrangement with the local butcher, something to do with the videos. Ooh. And of course, hooch from Dave and Barbara still helps. Oh, they make a fiery concoction in an old tin bath. The only thing that was chilled at my party was the guest list. In fact, the party was kicking. Well, she's finally found her milieu. Karen never appeared, which was a pity, as Yasmin had offered a forecast. I mean, I forecast she wouldn't come, but that hardly makes me psychic. But despite a breakdown, possibly the car and possibly Anthony, who was in tears. He and Howard arrived in time for the fireworks. A stunning display of Damon's homemade pyrotechnics. And speaking of bangers, the site is littered with them. Several of them flew through the air, along with Howard's toupee and the remains of the cow. In fact, Howard is thinking of using Damon for his anniversary bash, as he can always lay his hands on Semtex.
Note to self, be unavailable for Howard's party.
Well, he can always lay his hands on anything. Hence the laptop that I'm sending this email from. Apparently, it came from the back seat of a civil servant's car, courtesy of the Moscow Massive. Damon's involved with them on import-export, amongst other things. And thanks to him and Dave next door but one, who's our handyman, I've now got my own private Jenny, powered by a windmill on the roof. Looks so sweet, whirling away there. Anyway, my dear, I'm babysitting Yasmin's grandchildren while she takes part in a mystic fair, and it's proving to be a little more hands-on than I'd expected, so I'll have to finish. Oh, Irene, I have missed your letters. I've told everyone here so much about you. Yasmin could do you an absent reading. Do keep in touch now. I'm longing to hear more about your life in Oz. Love, V.
Down under, Tuesday night. Or is it Wednesday morning? Anyway, thank you for your vivid account of your birthday celebration. It sounded very pleasant, if that is your preferred means of conviviality. It is my birthday today. And?
Don't forget Cheryl Marie's gym clothes today.
And?
And what, Mum? I'm late.
It's my birthday today.
Oh, yeah. Bummer. Well, have a good one.
No, don't feel guilty about not sending a card, whatever you do.
Happy birthday, Mum! Don't wait up!
Leslie bought me a case of Victorian wines. Now, that's wines made in the state of Victoria, by the by, not during the late Queen's reign. Australia now, it is very, very, very big, for starters, and very, 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 very far away from everything. Melbourne is down south, and Melbourneians are very, very proud of their weather. They will tell you, as a drop of a hat, that they can have all 4 seasons in one day. Depending on which way the wind blows, apparently it can bring the chill of the Antarctic or the heat of the bush.
Give me the heat of the bush any day.
Oh, the other day, for example, I set off for a nice stroll along the beach in glorious sunshine, only to be hit by hailstones the size of tennis balls on the way back. And believe me, a parasol is no defence against Antarctic ice. Oh, tennis balls. Now, see, that reminds me. I must tell you about the sausage sizzle I went to at the weekend, held by the local tennis club to attract veterans to start going to play in the afternoons. Of course, I haven't been in tennis whites since the old king died, but fortunately there was a group of novices very like myself, so I joined their number. Oh, there was one lady there who reminded me so much of you. She was ever so jolly. But oh, did she suffer in the heat with all that bulk.
Bulk? What bulk? Blithering cheek.
Anyway, there was a lovely man there called Vincent. Retired, a widower, very nicely turned out and with a full head of hair. Did I think even his teeth were his own?
Well, hello.
And although Leslie's house is not very far away from the club. He insisted on driving me home. When it emerged in casual conversation that it was going to be my birthday in a couple of days' time, he suggested that we have lunch together, which is where I've been today. He'd booked us into a very exclusive restaurant at the harbour with a wonderful view and no expenses spared. I had oysters, crayfish, and 3 different kinds of chocolate mousse. And it was superb.
What's the damage? This is incredibly embarrassing. Sorry,
Oh, well, just hand it to me.
What,
Good heavens.
are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, he had this. It was so lovely to have the company of a man again, and of course, he's so much better looking than Bill ever was.
Well, that wouldn't be hard unless Vincent's dead too.
Unfortunately, he's got to go now and visit his grandchildren, but we've arranged to go and play tennis again. That's all for now.
Lodge 202, Friday, my dear Irene. How remiss of me to forget your birthday. Really, sometimes I wonder if Karen isn't right about the state of my brain, though it goes against the grain to admit it. Enclosed is a birthday tarot from Yasmin. Oz really does sound like the land of change, especially the weather. And talking of hailstones, I'm off to Sheepdippers for the weekend. It's Howard and Anthony's anniversary, and they're having a do, and Howard wants a hand with the catering. There's life in us old girls yet, eh? I promise to write more fully on my return. Love, V. P.S. Yasmin also brought this little news article, which, having done your reading, she thought might be of interest. Perhaps you should show it to Vincent. Keep on with the booze, by the by, and then you won't go all buttoned up on him. Men like a chatty woman.
The secret to a long and healthy life is sex. Sex keeps people young and vibrant and halts the ageing process, according to Dr. Raj Garibaldi, who insists ageless national icons like Madonna and Bruce Forsyth lead very vigorous lives. St. Albans, Tuesday. Dear Vera, I'm so sorry it's been a few weeks since writing. I'm afraid that in the interim I've mislaid your last letter, so I can't remember if there was anything worthy of response. I do seem to remember that you were very obsessed with sex, which is a shame in an older person, I always think, and seems to afflict the men more, as in dirty old, etc. I'm wondering if you've gone back on the UHT, in which case perhaps you should think about lowering the dose a little bit. Oh, thank you also for the tarot card reading from your friend Yasmin. Is that a Romany name? Which I found today at the back of my sock drawer. Certainly, I've never seen myself as having a burning, passionate nature, hidden beneath a cool exterior which yearns to be torn down. In fact, I'd consider myself more the opposite. Certainly as far as the tearing down bit was concerned. Did I tell you that I've joined a local tennis club? I'm playing 2 afternoons a week now with a very charming man called Vincent, who's a retired widower. Very active and fit for his years, full head of hair, all his own teeth. He used to be in hosiery, I believe. Imagine my surprise when he insisted on taking me to lunch on my birthday. We went to an exclusive harbourside restaurant. We had oysters and crayfish and 3 different kinds of wine, including champagne.
Cash do?
1 for each course. Have a blow for Grandma. That's it. On the rare occasions that I've managed, you know, to get away on a Sunday, because Leslie works most weekends, so I usually look after Cheryl Marie. Vincent has driven me out to local vineyards for tastings and lunch, and then I've availed myself of his 4-wheel vehicle to buy several cases to sample up my logo. And it's no use, do you know, it's got, I'll have to stop. That ruddy possum started up again, and I just can't concentrate. Just remind me to tell you about the possum another time, will you? Oh, you have that one, love. Anyway, right soon.
Dear Irene, I started a letter to you ages ago, and I've quite forgotten where I put it. Incidentally, you did mention Vincent, the tennis club, the teeth, the lunch, the oysters, the crayfish and the wine in your last one. Perhaps you should go easy on the New World viniculture. You're the 3rd one this week. And I think Yasmin's description of you was completely accurate. She did say part of your trouble is accepting it. Oh. DIY? Done and dusted. Who needs a man? Where on earth do you get the idea that I'm sex-obsessed? I haven't given this a thought in days. And no, I'm not on New Age tea. But I'm sure this genetically modified food has a lot to answer for. Howard won't touch it. He insists it actually decreases the sex drive and may in fact be responsible for the growth in man boobs. Oh, which reminds me, I was writing to you about his do, which gave a whole new meaning to fork and finger. I didn't know it was possible to attach so much metal to body parts. Outside of a boot fair, I've never seen so much fingering in public. Oh, the most important news is that Karen was there with her little girl, Sabrina. It's the first time I'd seen them in over a year. My, how Sabrina's grown. Oh, she's a charming little thing. And soon got used to calling me Granny! Oh. When I arrived, she didn't seem to know who I was and asked if it was me who Mummy called the mad old bat.
Sabrina, love, go and play on the cliffs.
When Karen heard I was living in a trailer park, she laughed raucously and said I'd graduated from grand opera to soap, whatever that means. Anyway, being homeless again, she decided to come and stay. Though, of course, I pointed out space is limited. Sorry, dear. Am I in your way? I mean, I'd put up a curtain to give her some privacy. But I needed to get to the kitchenette, so I popped my head round and asked, "Cup of tea, love?"
For God's sake, can you at least give me a chance to put my knickers on before you start twittering at me?
I admit I was hurt. I said, I don't seem to be able to do anything right these days. To which she responded,
Crashing in on a person when they're half naked is never right, Mother. You've done it for 65 years, haven't you?
how does she know? I've only been doing it to her for 35 of them. She won't let me play my favourite classical music radio programme, nor my keyboard, saying...
Does my head in that?
She's been here a month, and if she doesn't go soon, it'll do my head in. How do you manage with Leslie? Well, perhaps it's easier because she's out all the time. Whatever kind of job requires 7 days a week.
Where? Oh.
I hope she's getting good bonuses.
You're going selling houses in that, are you?
I'd be glad if Karen got any kind of job. All for now is it's time to pick Sabrina up from school. She's having to lodge next door with Carol and Terry. Hello.
Hello.
Because Karen says she disturbs her sleep. Right soon. I need support. Lots of love, Vera. P.S. What is a possum?
Will you stop it? Will you get... I'll know where you are.